Another minute, people. We've got another minute or so. People are coming in. I'd like to welcome you. We're across many platforms. We're on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. I don't know if we're on Twitter, if we're on Twitch, maybe. I know we're not on TikTok or Instagram, but if we could be, we'd be there. I'm not Dr. KD. As you can see in the picture, Dr. KD is, well, he's a doctor. Me, I'm just Chuck, an HR professional. He calls me Coach Chuck. And we're going to be starting here just shortly. Actually, here's Dr. KD. I'm so excited to be here. Doc, you know, you and I have been friends for a while. I've followed your career. You've provided me quotes for my classes, leadership inspiration, and it's just fantastic. So I'm so excited that and honored that you've offered for me to help you launch this book today.
Thank you, Chuck. Thanks so much for being a friend in need, for being a colleague, for being a fellow professional. They don't come better than you do. So thanks a lot, Chuck. I appreciate you.
Yeah, well, you've been very busy. You've been very busy. I just want to say, well done. I've read your book. I've read through it, and I'm excited for you to tell everyone today about it because it's more than just a book. First of all, we're going to find out it's a story about you, and that's inspirational enough. And then it's almost a handbook, an instruction book on what to do. And it's all about big dreams and taking them and going forward. But enough about me talking about it. Why don't you tell me more about the groundbreaking book of yours, the name of the book, how you came up with that name?
All right, thanks, Chuck. Before I do that, Chuck, I just want to introduce my friend, Chuck. Chuck is a global HR trainer. You look for him on LinkedIn, he's there. He does a lot of work with HR professionals, HR directors all over the world. In fact, we did a class together. We put an asynchronous class together on HR. I'm not an HR expert. So Chuck is the main speaker there. So we collaborate on a lot of things. And it's really a great honor for me to have him moderate this book launch today. A little bit about me. My name is Dr. KD Ewulu. And believe it or not, my background is in architecture. I've been an architect for over 35 years. I've got a master's degree in business administration with a concentration in management. I'm also a project management professional, a sustainable design architect lead AP. My doctorate is in leadership. I teach that in several US-based schools in an adjunct capacity. I do leadership, project management, and a lot of other soft skills classes. I've been doing that for over 10 years. I've been a coach forever, but professionally over the last maybe 7 or 8 years, I've been a coach, and believe me, all over the world, all over the country, different states, different cities, I've been there. I've taught classes face-to-face. I've coached people one-on-one. I've coached people online. I'm very comfortable with the online style of instruction. And so that's really it about me. I live in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Okay, and that's where I do a lot of my coaching from. Having said that, big dreams, making it happen for organizations and teams is something I've had in my head. That title, well, the big dreams I've had in my head for nearly 20 years, okay? And eventually it's more like a handbook that details, there's a little bit of a story about me, my travels, having done my earlier education, my bachelor's, my master's in architecture, my MBA in Africa, having lived in Europe for a little while before moving to the States just short of 20 years ago, and having to go back to school to recertify, because each time you move from one continent to the other, you recertify. Like, that's just the way it goes. Yeah. So I know what it's like to be the little guy in a big organization. I've done that in 3 continents. I know what it is like to be the middle level guy in 3 continents. I've done that there. And also know what it is, luckily, to be the top guy in these 3 continents as well. And I found that it requires different sets of skills to be able to do that, to understand what your goals are, what your role is, and to play that role for the overall good of your organization. So having said that, I realized that having done architecture to a high level, project management to a high level, organizational leadership to a high level, that I've got to put something pen to paper, something that people can hold in their hands, not more than 150 pages, just something that they can refer to. It's more like a reference manual to talk about all sorts of leadership, all sorts of project management, all sorts of, get themselves out of trouble, out of corporate trouble. Okay, so that's really what the book is. The name is Big Dreams, Making It Happen for Organizations and Teams. Chuck.
Yeah. Yeah. And I knew you call it a reference book. I've also heard you call it a handbook. Who does this book target?
Wonderful. This book talks to organizational leaders, C-suite members, technocrats, directors wishing to break through to top leadership, mid-levels wishing to climb up, breaking through the glass ceiling. Now I'm talking about the glass ceiling, small business owners, new business owners, and interns just joining the workforce.
Sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the book, it sounds great. It encompasses a lot. So what does it aim to help that target audience achieve?
Wonderful question, Chuck. Thank you. The target audience, of course, I've talked about these different levels of people in different seasons of life. They have to understand, the book helps them to understand and use the best practices defined in the book, especially in the fields of strategic leadership, in the field of decision-making, project management, of course, effective communications, delegation, conflict resolution, productivity, the enhancement of productivity, how to manage change, negotiations, the do's and don'ts of negotiations, and of course, team management, team dysfunctions, and the right practices to manage your team. And basically, it takes you through how to utilize these different fragments to make extraordinary things happen for your team, okay? For your organization and for your business. It also goes into how to formulate plans, how to implement those plans, how to apply flexibility to your initiatives in order to basically achieve best results. And when we talk about best results, first thing is profits, next is client satisfaction, and of course, higher efficiencies. Okay, these are some of the goals that are entailed that the book focuses on to help readers achieve. Sure.
So those are great. And I don't know if you were able to go more into the focus points, maybe to go through briefly, because I'm taking a few notes here. There's just so much on the chapters, because I really enjoyed that, the different, the names of the chapters, maybe for our attendees, and some of the resources that you outlined at the terminal stages of the book.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chuck. Great. The book begins with a short story, of course, about the author. Some of what I just told you guys here, his early childhood dreams, his early motivators, and some of his travels from Africa through to the United Kingdom and then to the US, spanning the last 30 years, slightly more than 30 years. The book also introduces the concept of dreams, of big dreams, the effort required to achieve any dream, of course, and the importance of doing something about the dream. That's just the introductory phase of the book, telling you that you've got to dream big dreams.
Yes.
And you don't have to stop at dreaming. You've got to do something about it. Chapter 1 of the book tackles the why for big dreams, the how you're going to achieve those big dreams, and then the unrestricted mindset you require that unlocks your ability to dream big. Some people can't dream big because they're just afraid of dreaming big, okay? You have to free your mind up to dream big. So it talks about that, okay? It talks about steps for formulating the action plans you require for achieving the dream. Such steps mentioned in the book include the gap analysis, talking about short-term and long-term plans, through to how to prioritize, the techniques for prioritization, and how to utilize milestones to get things done. In chapter 2, we talked about how to make your big dreams happen. And here we're tackling such concepts as being research-minded, acting on the plan, including things like prioritization, doing it in real time, I call it DIRT, rolling wave planning, bargaining and negotiation best practices, monitoring, controlling the implementation process, because you got to have a plan, then you got to work your plan.
Got to have a plan.
Oversee that plan, otherwise it deviates from, oversee the implementation, otherwise it deviates from the plan. You got to also intermittently measure your productivity. Am I on track? Is my schedule slipping? Is my budget slipping? You got to select appropriate control methodologies for staying the course. Okay, staying the course means persevering through the challenges that will inevitably pop up, of course. All right. And then in chapter 3, for information, the book only has 4 chapters.
Yes.
In chapter 3 of the book, it entails how to maintain and sustain and scale up your business, and scale up your achievements. Okay, topics dealt with in this chapter include how to avoid team dysfunctions, how to embrace change, how to accept shortfalls, how to build on your accomplished dreams. Now you are achieving those dreams. How do you build on them? And then the advantage of grooming the next generation of workers and leaders to carry out your dreams and achievements into the next couple of decades. Finally, in chapter 4, which is the concluding part of the book, it gives final thoughts for dreaming, for planning, for executing, for sustaining, and for scaling up. The links you mentioned, Chuck, to a few resources from the KDEL training stable are also included here. And those are for those who need to make giant steps.
Yeah.
Train their team members, author new books, and be better organizational leaders.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, I especially love chapter 1. Not that I didn't love the other chapters, but knowing about you and your story really tied everything together. And you talk about dreams and why dream. And there's a great quote in there about dreams and taking action. But why dream big dreams? You know, I mean, is that like daydreams? Like I sit around, I just daydream big dreams. So what's a big dream to you?
All right. Chuck, it's my firm belief that we all have amazing talents and capabilities buried within us. That goes without saying. Everybody has. And that our mandate as human beings is to maximize, if not optimize, our potential. The talents that's on the inside of you has to come out, has to be there for the benefit of mankind. It's not just for you. So the only way to achieve great results is to, first of all, visualize the goal, to imagine big accomplishments. And you know something? Big accomplishments begin with big dreams. It takes literally the same amount of brain power and physical resources to achieve small goals as well as to achieve big goals. So why settle for less if we're to make the world a better place? That's the question.
I like that. There's a quote in your book about a dream is just a wish unless you start taking practical steps. And it reminds me of the song from Cinderella, a dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In other words, you need to wake up and take action, or else it's just going to be a dream and a wish. That's great, because a dream, and I love that, small dreams and big dreams, it takes just as much effort. But you got to plan for those big things. And I made a note, how do you plan for big things?
Wow. Just begin, Chuck.
Yeah.
Planning for big things, just begin. All right? You want to visualize the probable sequence from the starting point to the finish line. Break your plan up into small chunks and begin. Now, understand that great accomplishments often require a large commitment of time, perseverance, and a flexible mindset.
Right.
So be patient with yourself. Good things take time to come together.
Yeah.
So don't lose hope as soon as you face the first obstacle, because the obstacles are going to come. Put pen to paper or fingers to your planning software. Believe. That's all I can say. How do you plan for big things? Put pen to paper, put it on paper, and start. Let me close with a quote from Mother Teresa. She says, yesterday is gone, tomorrow is not yet here. We have
Sure.
only today. So let us begin.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent. Yeah. So it sounds like just begin, right? So the first things to accomplish during the implementation phase, how do you translate that to the corporate plan?
In the corporate world, we have so many things to do, a list of tasks, a list of things that we have to accomplish. So the first step is prioritize your tasks. Rank them in order of preference. Whatever your metrics are, it could be urgency, it could be importance, it could be because it came from your boss, it could be something the client wants, whatever it is that makes one task ahead of the other in your order of preference. Just prioritize your tasks. And then you have to make up your mind to stop planning and start implementing immediately. Okay? You got to be willing to tweak things for better outcomes. Your plan, your initial plan is not perfect. It's not going to be the perfect plan. So you're going to have the flexibility of mind to change things along the way if they are not working.
Yeah.
So the perfect plan is somewhere ahead.
Yeah.
You might have to roll with the punches, like a boxer does, okay? You might have to roll with the punches during the implementation stage. The key is get into the trenches immediately. Get dirty.
I love that.
Initial failures as steps towards future success. Seek and accept input from your team members, most especially, your frontline executives. These are the first things. Let me repeat that again because it seemed like
please.
there was a lot there. Okay? Your initial plan is not going to be perfect. Be ready to tweak for better outcomes. The perfect plan is somewhere ahead. So be ready to roll with the punches. The key, get in the trenches immediately, get dirty, roll up your sleeves, get dirty, accept initial failures as steps towards future success, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
Seek and accept input from team members. Your team members are those sitting slightly outside the light of the circle of the light, and they're seeing the things you could have done more optimally. Listen to them, even if they're your direct reports. Listen to them. Tweak things, because they're the ones that are going to be executed. They're the ones feeling the pain out there. Make things easy for those who actually do the execution.
Yeah, that's worth price of admission right there. And that is so true, just to get started. And, in the book, you go a little further, you talk a little bit about bargaining and negotiations. And I'm just wondering, what roles do bargaining and negotiation play in actualizing one's dreams?
Bargaining occurs in every endeavor in life. We're always bargaining, okay? People are not going to accept all your plans and projections. That's a given. Whether they're vendors, clients, your team members, your children, your family, your wife, your spouse, your husband, they're not going to accept everything you throw at them.
Okay.
You will have to negotiate to obtain buy-in, assistance. I call that assistance from external stakeholders. People have to agree with you to work with you.
Yeah.
And the thing about agreeing with you is that they want to see that you're willing to give a little bit to their demands. Be ready to give in a little to their demands. Because when you do that, you get their acceptance. Leave some marbles on the table, my friend. Don't take everything. Don't get greedy.
Yeah.
Negotiations are supposed to achieve mutually beneficial outcomes. These result in win-win scenarios so you can actualize your big dream. You cannot do it alone.
Yeah. So, it's interesting when you say negotiate and bargain. Now I understand a little bit more, because then they feel like they have buy-in and they have a piece of the action. So that's fantastic. Look, I've got a few more questions for you, if you can.
That's right.
We talk about control, and I'm just wondering, how do you control the work for productivity, optimal productivity, yet not micromanaging these frontliners who actually do the work?
Now, this takes us into project management.
Okay.
Because in project management, you have in the waterfall, which is the traditional style of project management, you have 5 sections there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have the initiation, you have the planning, you have the execution, then you have that monitoring and controlling aspect of things to make sure that your plan is in sync with your execution. And then you have your closing. So when I talk about control, you want to plan collaboratively. See, I've gone back to planning. For you to control people effectively, they've got to be involved in the initial plan. They know what the plan is, so they're willing to work with you going forwards.
Right.
So you've got to plan collaboratively with your frontline executors or team members. This way, they know what the expected outcomes are. They're agreed to get them done. They're committed to them. And you don't need to breathe down their necks to achieve their individual goals towards the corporate big dream. Let me stop here a little bit.
Yes.
What I'm saying here is there's got to be a link. They've got to see the link between their personal goals and the goals of the larger organization. Once they see that achieving or pursuing and achieving the corporate goals will also allow them achieve their personal goals, you've got them. Then you can step back and allow them do their thing. They are what I call intrinsically motivated from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
They're willing to work right now. Okay, so having said that, if people know what the expected outcomes are, and they give assistance during the planning stages for those outcomes, your job as a leader is to step away and let them determine the ways and means to achieve their goals, the methods. Don't tell people what the final outcome should be and then tell them how to get there. That's micromanagement. Tell them what the final outcome is. Tell them, do you have this? They say, yeah, I've got this. Walk away. Allow them to determine how. That's how you manage, and yet you're not micromanaging. Remember to be available when they require your advice or facilitation. What am I saying here? Don't be too far away because you don't want to micromanage. Okay? And don't be too close that you're guilty of micromanagement.
Sure.
Finding that balance between micromanagement and macro management is what makes you a good leader. And that's what the book actually gives you 1 or 2 techniques for staying on that balance.
Yeah, I just want to pull out the one thing you said that a lot of times people forget, and it's captured so well. And what you said in the book is tie their goals to the company goals. Find that bridge, and you'll go far. So, you talked about leading situationally, and I don't really know what you meant by that. What's involved in that type of leadership style, leading situationally?
Okay. Oh man, Chuck, you're yanking me all over the place.
Well,
I'm now moving back to organizational leadership. Wow.
I took notes. I read the book. I took notes. I've got notes here. So I'm putting you to task, Dr. KD.
Wonderful. Okay, I hope the viewers are also getting a lot of this. And for your information, those that are on LinkedIn and those that are watching us from Facebook, the replay of this is available forever on LinkedIn. So you just go to my same page you're on now on LinkedIn, and you'll be able to get a replay of this as many times as you want. All right, in response to your question, situational leadership suggests that you apply different styles of leadership to different people, to different situations that are in different phases of life. For instance, an intern might, of course, require close direction and monitoring, right? While an expert team member, a subject matter expert, a job captain, will not. The fact that an intern, again, needs your close guidance currently does not mean that he or she will in the next 6 months. So being able to apply close monitoring to that intern, watch them grow, and begin to hands off as they grow, to do things on their own, to own the job, to own the tasks, and feel a great sense of accomplishment is what situational leadership is. You got to also be sensitive to the changing seasons in people's lives. As I said, when you adjust your leadership style accordingly based off of the changing seasons in their lives, then you're becoming a great leader. I'll give you an example.
Yes.
15 years ago, I was a project manager. 15? Yeah, 15 years ago, I was a project manager in a large architectural firm in Dallas, Texas.
Sure.
And I had a group of people who worked in my team. They were interior designers. They're different from interior decorators. They were interior designers in this architectural firm. They designed the lights. They designed the carpeting. They designed the step up and step down in shopping malls. They did a lot of extraordinary work. But I noticed that anytime from 2 or 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I couldn't get them to do much. They were gone mentally. And I thought it was because I was a man and they were ladies, or I was African-American, or I didn't understand why.
Right.
So a couple of months later, one of the ladies called me and said, listen, we're young mothers. Once it's 2:30 in the afternoon, our 9, 10-year-olds are on the school bus, coming down from school. And we're talking them through from the school bus to get into the apartment, to lock it up, to microwave, heat up their lunch, eat their lunch, okay, and then get to their homework. So between 2:30 and 4:30, we don't want anybody telling us anything. We're counting the hours. We don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Wow. So I went to management. And remember, I'm talking about 2006. The work from home bug hadn't bitten us.
Sure.
It was a big deal to work from home. So I went to management and I proposed a work from home for these 4 ladies. But we had a problem. When you're in an architectural firm, your problem is if you give them a laptop and load all the drawings there, it's a security issue because these are intellectual property. Okay? They have to do their designs at home and upload to the virtual power network so other team members can work on them the next day. So it's about 3 months for the leadership to give that permission, buy laptops, set it all up, and give them official permission to close work at 2 p.m. in the afternoon and go home and continue work. So they're home to take care of their kids. Now, while I'm saying this is, I recognized a problem. I went ahead and found a solution for them. Let me ask you a poignant question. Do you think in this post-COVID era that I'll be able to motivate them with work from home?
Yeah.
No, I cannot, because work from home has become commonplace here.
Right, right.
Now common. So that was a solution for a certain season. That season is over.
Right.
Secondly, if they were still working for me right now, I will not be able to inspire them to give me 110% of their productivity by working from home. Why? The need to work from home is over. The kids have graduated from college.
Yeah.
Kids that were 10 years old are now 22-year-olds now.
Right.
So the ladies don't want to be home even to work from home. They want to go into the, so the entire system is turned over on its head.
Yes.
Being situational, understanding the season and life of the people you work with.
I love that.
Rolling with the punches accordingly is what makes you a leader. That's what situational leadership is about. Being everything, I call it being all to all. Being everything to everybody, giving each person what they want to make them give you 110%. That's a tall order, but it can be done.
Yeah, you know, these are great points, and I can see where throughout my career, and I'm sure many of our viewers and listeners have thought, geez, I used to do that. I used to do that. I used to do that. But you bring up a really good point where you talk about persevering and sticking to what works and how important that is for success, right? I mean, persevering and sticking to what work is important. What are the little things one must do in regards to that you can think of? Some things to help us do that.
Chuck, you know, this brings to mind, there's a notable saying. It states that the darkest part of the morning is just before dawn. The darkest part of the morning is just before dawn. The most difficult part of a race is the last 10 yards of the race. Go ask guys who are doing 800 meters or 800 yards or mile. The last 10 yards of a mile, your lungs are bursting. You want to give up. You see the finish line and saying, I just want to lie down here and sleep. I'm tired. But that's when you must not quit.
Yeah.
The truth is that many people have been known to give up after so much commitment to their cause. Just as breakthrough or victory is so close, they give up.
Yeah.
If we could see tomorrow, if we could see what's out there, what's waiting for us just on the other side, guess what? We're going to be motivated. We're going to crash the finish line with so much power and gusto. So in essence, you got to persevere.
Mm-hmm.
Many people have been known to give up. My advice
Right.
to us is stay the course.
Yes.
Do not give up. Imagine that your breakthrough is tomorrow. And then find an accountability partner to keep you honest and motivated. What do I mean by that? If you tell somebody else your plans, they're going to ask you, hey, how's that book coming along? Hey, how's that assignment? Did you do that again? Did you? Okay. I asked you a couple of questions, Chuck, a couple of weeks ago when we were reconnected. I asked you a few questions. Why? Because you shared certain personal things with me.
Mm-hmm.
Say, so how's that going? That's accountability.
Yes.
You had dropped the ball, Chuck.
Yes.
So tell me a few garbled things, but you're going to go back to the drawing board and pick it up again and get it done. And let me give you an example about accountability partners.
Okay.
When I was writing this book, I gave myself a deadline for December 31st, 2022. For whatever reasons, family commitments, holiday, it didn't happen. I couldn't make it happen. So I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I gave myself a deadline for April 30th. And by 4 days to go, I was in trouble. I was behind. But I had given myself that deadline. I had told my wife I was going to finish it. I was going to publish it by May the 1st. I had told one or two people. And because of that, how was I going to go back and face them? I didn't get it done again. So I stuck to it. The last 3 days before May 1st were so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at that book, it was published on May 1st, 2020.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And that's the power of accountability. Tell someone who's going to keep you accountable, who's going to keep you honest.
Yeah, that's great. I've learned, and I say I've learned a lot again, been inspired again. And so, it's been great. And the book has been great. And so as we wrap up our conversation today, I noticed as you wrote the book, you have quite a few resources, especially towards the end of the book. Can you kind of give me a clue on some of these resources? How can they help the readers maximize, their productivity and of course profit too, right? Tell me about those resources.
Yeah, sure, Chuck. I took a moment to check the book. The book is, if you look behind me, is right there behind me.
Yeah.
On that side, right there behind me. So I went in to look at that, and those resources are itemized between pages 110 and 115 of the book. Between pages 110 and 115 of the book, that's where those resources are itemized. And I broke them down into 4 different phases again. There are resources that pertain to the planning stages of your project, of your tasks, of your company. Okay, resources such as a business plan template, financials template, loan payback schedule template, authoring and publishing guide for those who want to write their own books. These are resources that are there, they are available, they are asynchronous. You can just go in there and help yourself.
Sure.
Okay? All right, now in the execution stages of your tasks, of your company, of your project, we also have a couple of do-it-yourself courses. There's a project management office setup and operations. It's an asynchronous course. You can go do it yourself. You don't have to see me there. Of course, you see my videos and everything there, but you can take it at your own pace.
Sure.
Right from beginning to the end. There's also what I call the efficiency in virtual administration and operations. It's also a do-it-yourself course. And then, of course, there's the respectful workplace guidelines, which is set up in partnership with an HR guru associate of mine. His name is Chuck. All right, so these are all asynchronous courses that exist there. All right.
Absolutely.
And then we move on to the final 2 stages, the sustenance and scaling up stages. If you are in a company that you want to build on your successes, you want to build on you've made some great strides and you want to build on that, you want to scale up. Okay, we have a few coaching programs, or one-on-one or group deals, okay? There's one that is executive leadership guidelines, one that deals with change management protocols, one that deals with team management best practices. Another one talks about budgeting in the midst of scarcity, different models for that. And then, of course, project management skills training. And then you have productivity sustenance strategic guidelines. These are all things to keep you up there, because it's one thing to climb the top of a hill, it's another to stay there.
Yes.
Right? It's more difficult to stay atop the hill than to get there. So these last four I talked about, the executive leadership guidelines, change management. People hate change. They don't like change, especially if things are going well. How do you get people to accept the change, embrace it, and actually run with it? These are all things we've talked about there. The best practices in team management. How do you get the best out of the team members? What are the things you should stay away from? What are the things you should do? How do you do more with less? Budgeting in the midst of scarcity. How do you achieve more with less human, tech, money, time, resources? And then, of course, project management. These are all stuff that are stuffed in there between pages 110 and 115.
Yeah, just those 5 pages, I have to tell you, the templates, invaluable, just invaluable stuff. So really appreciate you packing that in there. What about the glossary at the end of the book? I don't know if you want to just talk about that and what that's targeted, who that's targeted towards.
Okay, I'll do that. A glossary is actually, you define it as more as a quick reference section. It gives brief definitions of most of the concepts that are introduced within the book. Most of the concepts. It also, I went further to not only define them, but to add an index page, which gave page numbers within the book that those concepts and definitions can be located. So you don't have to keep going through the book to say, okay, where did they talk about sustainability? Where did they talk about? It's all there. Once you go to the glossary, you see it, you see the definition, and you see the page number in the book where you can find it. So it's cross-referenced backwards. Okay? So because basically, what I'm looking at here is the book is targeted at busy professionals, okay? So the essence is we want to spend less time, okay, trying to find whatever information that we require from the book. So in essence, if you're looking for anything, just go to the glossary and it's alphabetically placed so you can find what you're looking for, see that definition. If the definition does not suffice, you need some more detail, you look at the page number, go back into the book and look at where it's treated in more detail.
I love that. I love that. Just want to just step back just a minute. We talk about the resources, the coaching available. That's all with you, correct? I mean, people can have, and I just want to make sure that was clear that the coaching is with you, and they can have one-on-ones, they can have group coaches in person, virtual. And so not only can they read the book, but they can meet with the man himself. And so that in itself is a fantastic resource to have the opportunity to engage.
And I would encourage most people listening to us at this time to go ahead and book your meeting. It's at calendly.com. I'm sure Chuck, you're going to show us that further down the road. To go ahead and book, you have a free 30-minute meeting with me, where you sit with me for 30 minutes and tell me what your peculiar, unique problems are. Yeah. We'll figure out solutions for you, and then we can take you on a coaching program that will make you one step ahead of your competitors, because that's what it's all about. Okay, being one step ahead of the competitors, getting there before they do. Okay, so that's really what the book brings. As I said, it's a must-have for busy professionals, for leaders, for mid-levels, and for interns who really want to be productive, who want to be efficient, and now who want to be visible within their teams and organizations. That visibility is critical, okay?
Sure.
Visibility brings you close to breaking through the glass ceiling, either to top management or to top leadership positions. But if you're not visible, your top people are not going to see you as a productive person, and then you don't even stand a chance of breaking through the glass ceiling. So one leads to the other, and this book makes you visible, makes you, people are going to say, where have you been hiding all these years? No, you read Dr. KD's book. That's the only
Sure.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, Dr. KD, I've put up on the screen Folks, you can take a screenshot of this if you'd like. There's a QR code. And I know you're going to talk a little bit about the summary and the value of the book it brings to everyone, but I don't know if you want to speak to the screen right now.
Yeah, I would like to speak to the screen right now. Basically, as you can see, leaders learn how to break through the glass ceiling. The other one we'll be looking at is the one that shows the QR code, Chuck. All right. So there's a second one that shows the QR code.
Yes.
So leaders will learn how to break through the glass ceiling. That's really what this book is about. You want to also learn how to advance your knowledge in the areas of leadership, project management, and achieving more with less resources and managing teams. You're looking at how to identify and leverage all those asynchronous courses I talked about that give you a jump start over your competitors. Having said that, you want to learn how to utilize all the resource links. It's all available in one small package for you, as well as a unique help link, which is going to my online calendar to book. As you can see there, the online calendar is right there, calendly.com/leadership/30 minutes. That's the online calendar. All right. You can also, yes, as I said, be proactive. A lot of people procrastinate. Again, that's a leadership problem. They procrastinate. They put things aside, stuff they can do today. It's like going to get a copy of this book right now. If you're old school like me, you want to get a paper copy, okay, a hard copy of that. As you can see, that's the link there. It just takes you to Amazon. You take your copy, it gets delivered to you in 2 days. If you also want the ebook version for the millennials and the younger ones in our group, you can also get the ebook version. As you can see there, the link there is there as well. Mm-hmm. But there is that final one. If you have a Kindle Unlimited app, you're actually going to be able to download the ebook free of charge to you. Yeah. Right? So either way that works for you. If you're a busy professional like me, you want to hold on to yours and walk around with it. Okay. If you have your laptop and you want to read from your laptop, you can just go ahead and download the ebook version, or you can get the Kindle Unlimited. How about you? You're welcome to do that.
Yeah, I would like to just share that originally getting the Kindle ebook version, great, read through, but the hard copy of the book is priceless because you can take notes. And yes, I know some people can do that on their ebook or whatever, but it is so much better to see it right there in person. Show them, Dr. KD, yeah. And you can write on it. The templates are back there. You can make notes. It's absolutely worth the price of $14.99. That's a great deal. Yes. So I have to throw that out. That's my personal opinion. You didn't tell me to say that, okay? But that is my personal opinion. Any other thoughts, Dr. KD, for our group before we wind up?
Well, Chuck, I just want to say big dreams, making it happen for organizations and teams is my life's work. Mm-hmm. I'm very proud of it. It's a handbook that most people need to get to the promised land, so to say. Yeah. All right. I'm not saying it's it, but it's close to it. All right. If you need something by your side to answer your questions, to guide you through the difficulties that leaders face as they negotiate with productivity, delegation, micromanagement, sustaining productivity, great communications, all the good stuff that we tangle with as leaders, that we struggle with as leaders. This book has the answers for you. It tells you how to get it done in very simple terms. I try to make sure that an 8th grader can understand what I'm writing. That's an essence of writing. Okay, it doesn't have doctorate level language there. It's just broken down. You can understand it. Okay, so it's very, very important that we do that. Get hold of that book. I think it's going to be very valuable to most people.
I believe so too. You know, big dreams, making it happen for organizations and teams. If I had to give another title to it, I'd say big dreams, making it happen for yourself. And boom, individually, this is a book for that. But thank you I'm so glad. I was excited to be here. To our viewers, thank you for being here today. Make sure you take a screenshot of this and follow Dr. KD out on LinkedIn. He's got all kind of great resources, and I can't say enough things. So thank you everyone for joining us for the Big Dreams book launch.
Thank you everybody for joining us. You take care now.